Hi, this is Michael Anthony Peroutka, Anne Arundel County Councilman for District 5, analyzing Bill number 6715. Now, the public hearing and the vote on this bill was scheduled for September 8, 2015. This is a bill authorizing the Department of Aging to make certain changes with regard to a senior management position within the department. Specifically, the position of Deputy Director is being changed from a position in the classified service to a position in what is called the exempt service. Now, my understanding is that this would allow the director of the department to hire a deputy director whose loyalty is to the director and who serves at the will of the director, as opposed to the classified service in which the employee enjoys certain other rights and protections. So let's go to the questions. Question 1 is designed to determine if the bill violates the U.S. Constitution. Now, although I have some problems with this bill, they do not relate to the U.S. Constitution. The 10th Amendment reserves the authority to hire and fire staff to the states and the counties. Also, my problems with this bill do not arise out of any concern for the propriety of the requested personnel changes, but from a larger question involving the function of the department itself. Question 2 is designed to determine if the bill violates the Constitution of Maryland, and I don't believe there's any violation of the Maryland Constitution here. Question 3 is designed to determine if the bill violates the Anne Arundel County Charter. Well, Section 507 of the Charter lists the Department of Aging as part of the executive branch, so I don't have a difficulty with the legislation with regard to the Charter. Question 4 asks whether the proposed legislation is in accordance with the biblical standards for law and government. Now, this is where I have a problem with Bill 6715. You see, like our founders, I believe that only those activities of civil government which are ordained by God and supported by His Word are valid. So question 5 asks if the legislation negatively impacts citizens' rights, and I believe that by usurping the God-ordained jurisdiction of the individual citizen to provide for his own needs, and the jurisdiction of the family to provide for the needs of its members, and the jurisdiction of the church to care for the needs of the community, I believe that the core functions of the Department of Aging are in violation of the organic and foundational law of the United States, and do in fact negatively impact the rights of individual citizens and families and churches. Now, for a broader and deeper discussion of this topic, you might want to visit www.freedomoutpost.com and search on the phrase, the God-ordained family government. Now, there you will find a very enlightening presentation by Pastor David Whitney, delineating the various God-ordained jurisdictions and explaining why one jurisdiction cannot invade or usurp another. Now, also, I believe the dissipation of taxpayer funds in this way causes the personal liberty of individual citizens to be diminished as well. Now, question 6 asks whether the time frames were adequate for appropriate review and consideration of the legislation, and I don't see a problem here. Question 7 asks whether the terms used in the legislation are clearly defined, and I don't see a problem here either. Question 8 concerns personnel appointments and does not apply here. Question 9 asks whether funds are being generated by the legislation, and this legislation does not call for the raising of revenue. Now, question 10 asks whether the legislation calls for spending, and if so, whether that spending satisfies a cost-benefit analysis. Well, given the conclusion that this legislation involves spending funds on an activity that is not in the jurisdiction of the civil government, a cost-benefit analysis, I believe, is irrelevant. That is, there is no way to do efficiently what there is no right to do at all. So for the reasons described here, I voted against this bill. However, the bill still passed 6-1. Now, I hope this review of my analysis of Bill 6715 has been helpful. This is Michael Anthony Peroutka, Anne Arundel County Councilman for District 5, and I thank you.